My newest healing obsession is I've been studying
Like clowns?
like clowning.
Really?
Yes, and I'm totally obsessed. I've taught laughter yoga for almost 13 years now, I think. So yeah, it's actually like I taught last night a Valentine's Day special laughter.
Oh.
It was so magic. And it is one of my favorite things to teach. And I feel like it's a pillar of Maha Rose, laughter.
Hmm.
Yeah, three pillars. I'm like, these are the three pillars:
Mm-hmm.
laughter, Reiki, and devotion to the goddess.
Mm.
Yeah, it's been nice to be like, oh, there they are. They've always
Yeah.
been there, but to actually be able to say them and see them, because sometimes when you're in something, it's
Mm-hmm.
hard to actually see some of those structural things, I guess.
Yes.
So it's been really nice to clarify that. And then I guess a couple years I took a clowning class, but then this summer I took a clowning class here in New York City and
Okay.
with this woman, Carol Lee Sarugo. And yeah, I just kind of, I don't know, fell in love with it. And she thought I was a natural clown and invited me to be in her advanced clowning class online. And it's just,
What?
aside from like being fun and wildly creative, and it satisfies, I'm a very creative person. So
Mm-hmm.
and actually, I had been kind of asking the universe for a creative modality that wasn't making things. But
Mm.
when I start making things, I am a factory. Like when I do ceramics, I don't make one thing, I make like 50 of the things.
Mm-hmm.
When I do a lot of like tie dye, and when I same thing, I'm a factory. Like I don't know why. I'm a double Capricorn.
Ooh.
Gemini moon, so I like to have fun and I
Mm-hmm.
like to work a lot, but I like to have fun while I work. And yeah, I just go into factory mode and produce a lot. And I sell a lot of the things I make in Maha Rose, but I can't even sell it fast enough for how much creativity I have. So I was kind of
Mm.
asking for a creative modality that wasn't like making physical objects. And then clowning has come. So it's fulfilling my creative desires and need to express, but it's also incredibly healing. It's such a healing
Mm.
modality because it's so much about accepting or like embracing our mistakes, accepting failure, just being more comfortable in our own skin. And it's really helping me in every aspect of my life, like
That
from
makes a lot of sense.
yeah, from like teaching to parenting to just being human, because I think
Yeah.
there is a lot of fear right now, and like fear of doing the wrong thing or saying the wrong thing, and like and also just with social media, like everybody's seeing everything that everybody's doing, and there's a lot of self-consciousness and just like, "Oy, how am I being perceived?" And
Mm-hmm.
with clown, you just throw all that out the window and you give yourself permission to be a messy human, and it's so liberating.
I love that. It's so funny that you're sharing this, that you're doing this, because I'm rereading in the sense of like, when I decide to tap into it, I kind of read a passage or a paragraph or something. But I'm reading You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. And one of her clients she did like a case study on one of her clients, and I can't remember exactly what his profession was prior to, but he ends up losing his job and like basically is like about to like be completely broke, trying to figure out like how to pick up the pieces to his life. And he ends up just on a whim taking a free clown class. I don't know how he saw it somewhere, took the class, loved it, and then and became a clown. And like his whole life turned around.
Yes. Is he making lots of money being a clown?
I don't remember if he made lots of money, but he feels fulfilled and satisfied.
I'll take fulfillment over money, honestly. I mean, great
I'm
to
sure he's
have
making
both.
something, right?
I totally want to read that.
I mean, hey, you never know. Maybe he's like, doing Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner's kids' birthday parties or something. He can make some real money.
And that's like one version of the clown. And I think that's in the United States what most people think of, like the white
Hmm.
face and the red nose. But
Oh yeah.
I haven't done that actually.
Okay.
There's lots of different schools of clown, and it's so much more than like the birthday kid party.
Mm. Oh, I'd be interested to a quick synopsis.
Oh, of what? Of everything
Not
clowns and
everything, but just like what you, I guess what you've learned or like kind of what pathway you're following.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know actually like the name of the lineage of the school, but and I think my teacher studied with many people. She's been doing theater since she was 7,
Okay.
and but I think she's been doing clown for like 25 years, and she said
Wow.
clown is what really woke her up because it's really about being in the present moment and like catching the moments that are funny and like that you can play with. And
Mm.
she says, um, like stand-up what is it? Okay, wait. If you're a comedian, you're making jokes, but if you're clown, you are the joke. It's
Mm.
kind of like the fool also, I think, in tarot, like just
Mm-hmm.
totally wide open, anything is possible, super present, like the presence in the moment of like
Mm.
and it's also like what's coming through. So if you come and you're like, "I'm tired," and you're like, "I'm really tired." It's not like, "Oh, we have to be funny and fun all the time." It's like
Got it.
whatever's there, exaggerating it.
Oh, I like
And you
that.
think yeah, like this
Yeah.
like a radical self-acceptance and just whatever it is, that's what it is.
That's what it is. And not beating ourselves up, not judging ourselves. Wow. It's so I love that this is the direction the conversation is going in because like I literally have just been having to have those conversations with myself of for my birthday, I went to the spa and like completely forgot to like clip my toenails and take off like this gel polish that is complete like 3 months old. And I was like, okay, I can sit here and be mortified, or I can sit here and enjoy my birthday and go to the spa and like don't look at my feet. Like
Yeah,
if it bothers you that much, just don't look at my feet. Like you have the choice. Like, And I had to
yeah,
just really be like, because I'm not gonna like sit here and have a horrible day now, because I didn't get to these things. So I love that you're sharing that because it really is it's in that present moment, not the idea of self-acceptance, but like, okay, here I am showing up in a way that maybe preferably I would have chosen something different, but we're here now. We're
yeah.
here. And so we can either be present with it and enjoy it, or we can be present with it and be miserable
And laugh at it,
and
like,
laugh at it.
like, we all have at least a little bit of clown in it and, like,
Hmm.
accepting our inner clown of, like, "Ha ha, look, I came
Right.
like this," and, like, that's just who I am,
It's
and
just what it is. Yeah, I love that. That's exciting. So, are you going to be teaching some of the? No, yeah, you did. You did say you just taught a class at
I
Maha.
I'm teaching a class, I call it Laughter Lab.
Okay,
It's got a lot of laughter yoga, and it's got some improv and a little bit of clown.
I love that.
Teaching that, and yeah, it's really fun. And then actually my teacher is here at Maha Rose, and she's teaching a class called The Way of the Clown.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out.
I know, next
Wait,
time
but is it in person or is there any online options as well?
those are in person. I
Okay.
might start doing an online, like, joy club or laughter club.
Hmm. We need
Yeah,
more of that. We really
right?
do. Yes.
And it might be like you log in for, like, 10 minutes a day and you just laugh, and then you go
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. Because I know that's like my medicine. Like when I'm either in kind of like a downward spiral, if you will, or I can feel myself kind of approaching that, I'm like, I need to go watch something funny. So like Modern Family's my go-to. Sometimes it's like The Office, but I need like a guaranteed laugh. That's
Yeah,
what I say. I need a guaranteed laugh so I
yep,
can kind of, offset some of this emotion that I'm moving through. And it helps.
yeah,
It
and
helps tremendously.
exactly. Yeah, and these are, like, really intense times, and everybody I know is going through such wild, oof,
Yeah.
strong stuff, and I think what's beautiful is I feel like most the people I know are, like, there for it and, like, "Okay, let's do this, let's go
Mm-hmm.
through" myself included, "Let's go through these painful places," like, I might kick and scream and protest a little bit, but really really I'm up for it, even if throw in some self-pity and some like, "Why? No, no, no," but
I
like,
know,
"Okay,
right?
yes, yes, also let's do it." And then
Hmm.
if we can mix in some laughter and play, then it's just gonna, yeah, balance out the entire.
Yeah, 100%. One of the things I wanted to kind of chat with you about was just like your evolution of Maha Rose, especially like through the pandemic, because I know you went through several different cycles, shifts, changes. So I would love to just kind of hear, and you can share as much as you'd like around that whole entire experience, and then like how you've really just evolved yourself now. Like you're in a new location, you've reopened up your brick and mortar. So yeah, just from like a personal human business,
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah. Well, it's been a long road. I think, the original space in Greenpoint, I moved in there in 2003.
Okay.
Into that loft. I had a jewelry line, which I did for about 5 years. And in those later 5 years, 2005, six, seven, a really good friend of mine who became my Reiki teacher also in those years, she would come and I would, promote her healing work, which she was really newly waking up
Mm.
to friends and friends of friends. And then in 2007, we had a meditation circle in the living room, and then the name came in, like, 2010?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the roots were, like, old and long, and then 2013 is when I finished acupuncture school, and we said, "Let's make this a real business," and redid the website,
Mhm.
and people started coming who weren't just, like, friends or friends of friends,
Mhm.
and it really, massively expanded from 2013 to 2020. I used a lot of my, like, fashion contacts and PR contacts to promote Reiki and sound healing and
Smart.
yeah, and I think, Maha Rose was part of this, like, newer wave. These things
Mhm.
have existed for many, 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 many years, but we
Mhm.
were like this younger, creative wave of healers and yogis and spiritual seekers and artists that had come together in Brooklyn at that point, and yeah, I think helped to like get it out there to a larger audience. And then 2020, you know,
Good old
2020
2020.
2020 got fast. Happened. Yeah, and, like, we had to just keep paying the rent. We didn't get a rent break, and I think it was, like, July 1st paying rent when I was like, "Ooh, like, this loan they gave us isn't gonna last
Mhm.
long," and also, like, "Oh, this isn't gonna end anytime soon." I think, at first we were like, "Oh, a few months."
Right.
So we decided to close that location, and it was very clear at the time, like, this is the thing to do. And I was in Mexico and yeah, just let it go. Just and it was, I had lived in New York for 17 years with having my own businesses, jewelry
Yeah.
first and then Maha Rose and it was really good for me to like let go of the hustle, I guess, like
Mm.
even if it's your life's calling and it's like the most divinely inspired work, it's still having your own business is I mean, hustle doesn't have to have a negative connotation, right? It's just like very full time. It's like more
Yeah.
than full time.
Yeah.
So I let go for a few years and it was nice. I had a small child at the time, so it was nice to just devote more time to him. And then I guess it was in the summer of 20 not last year, 2022 when Maha Rose started talking to me again. I would come
Mm.
back in the summer and do things and we were doing some retreats and some programming, but not very much. But in 2022, she was like, "I wanna be reborn." And actually,
Ooh.
my son, who was maybe 7 at the time, he was like, "Can we go back to that place in Brooklyn?" And I was like, "The apartment?" And he was like, "Oh, no, that other place." I was like, "Maha Rose?" I was like, "We closed it, remember?"
Yeah.
He was like, "What?" He was like, "Can't you just reopen it?" And I was like, "Oh."
Oh, the
I was
eyes of a
like,
child.
"Yes," right? And just like, okay, like, that the youth wants it,
They're
like,
just like, just open it back up. That's all
big
I
deal,
said.
no big deal. So, yeah, so last summer, we reopened in a new neighborhood, new
Mm.
location, new incarnation, and
Yeah.
it feels amazing. I'm like,
Mm.
Maha Rose really was born from my desire to be of service to humanity, and
Mm.
to my teacher, and yeah, so this it's like I feel really happy that we're back.
Wow, that's so beautiful. I'm curious, like when you were coming into the acceptance of I need to let this go.
Yeah,
What was that process like for you? Because I was like, I imagine that to be like a deathing of sorts. Like
yeah,
you've poured your heart and soul into this container,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, it definitely was a death, but at the same time, it was so clear, like the
Mm-hmm.
message was so clear that I couldn't argue with it, Like it was like, It's time. This is what
Yeah.
you're gonna do. Like you're just gonna close it." And yeah, it was painful, and I think the grieving, even actually in the building of this new space,
Mm-hmm.
being in this new space, I still have moments of grieving for the old space. Because while I love this space, like, it will never be what that space was, and that
Mm-hmm.
space had its own magic, and this space has its own magic, but it's still like "Oh, yeah, that was a magical chapter."
Yeah.
Many chapters.
Mm, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And then it also feels like it just kind of gave you like a second wind, you know? Like
Yeah,
maybe you really needed that pause of just going inwards. And I think you like moved to Mexico, right? Didn't
yeah,
you like move to Mexico? And
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. A really good friend of mine, do you know Levine, Jaguar woman?
that
She's
sounds very familiar.
you might know her from Instagram, and she's done stuff at Maha Rose, but, whenever I say, like, "Oh, I closed Maha Rose," she's like, "You didn't close Maha Rose, you just moved it, you just, like, moved the baby to
Mm,
Mexico for a few years," but, like, the vibration never closed, like,
right.
but it did kind of, like, rest. Or,
And it
like
probably needed that rest. I think a lot of us needed that rest. A lot of that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and, like, knowing when to take that rest or when to back off, like,
Yeah.
when do we fight for something and when do we just let it go?
Oh my gosh, that is like I love that you just said that because I swear to you, I just had that realization the other day. Like it's such a fine balance of that, of
Yeah,
just that experience of like, am I supposed to be fighting for this and pushing and forcing, or like, am I supposed to be stepping back and letting go?
oof, that's everything.
Like, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
yeah. And do you feel like so you've been in business for, I mean, basically at this point, 20 years now, right? Like
What I'm like, where are we
what year is it?
It was very part-time, probably till 2010, and even 2010 when the name came, so maybe 14 years, like,
Okay.
of a more full-time-ish business.
Okay. I guess my question was going to be like, does it ever get any easier kind of going through these ebbs and flows?
Haha.
There's the clown part.
Does it ever get easier? Great question. I mean, I feel like I wanna, like, knock on wood. Feel like I'm getting stronger.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, which is scary, and actually it, like, brings sadness to me, I think, like,
Mm,
that strengthening process
hmm.
has been, I guess a little painful, but yeah, I do feel stronger. And I also am, like, knocking on wood, like, "Okay, I'm strong enough, like, don't make
Right. I don't need to be
don't make
tested here. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. That's
And I guess,
amazing.
like, with this I mean, it always felt like my calling, but with this new incarnation and yeah, just, like, even more clarity, like, this is what I'm meant to be doing, so, we're gonna do it no matter
Yeah.
what comes up and whatever is happening. This is
Yeah.
what I'm here for. This is what I've been asked to birth and, yeah.
Kind of
I
steward, yeah, like
Yes,
yeah,
that's
someone I heard that I was watching a like a master, oh no, someone was another healer, they were giving like a talk or whatever. She was like, I don't really believe in business ownership, I believe in business stewardship. And I was like, oh wow, that's powerful.
yes, yes. Yes.
because she's like, I'm stewarding this work and it just happens to come through my business. I was like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, like it's not mine. I've just
Yeah.
been to steward it. Exactly.
Powerful.
That's true in with everything in life, right? None of it really belongs to us.
And that's a great reminder.
Our children, not really ours.
Yeah. Yeah.
We get to
That's
take care of them
wow.
for a little while.
For a little while, right? And steward them. Yeah, you're meant to just show them, help them find their way, help them find their way. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
talk about parenthood.
Ooh,
Parenthood and business and ownership, or stewardship, business stewardship. How's that balance been?
I mean, I have a wonderful kid. He's 8 now.
Oh,
Um, yeah, I don't know what to say about parenting. It's it's in some ways last year was a challenging year. I think like 7 to 8 is a big developmental shift,
mm,
emotional, mental, and that was a harder year, but and just recently I mourned the fact that I don't have a little kid anymore. Like those little years, like 3, 4, 5, 6 are really bad.
mm-hmm.
But he's evolving into like a medium kid, I guess.
Medium kid.
And he's really yeah, and that was a tough shift, I think, for him, like,
Mm,
internally, like, the wanting to be a bigger kid, but, like, still needing us and being a little kid, and I don't know, it was an interesting, yeah, just, like, transformation that he went through, but now I feel like, oh, he's more a little more mature, so
yeah.
I don't know.
I'm curious, like, what do you feel has been the biggest lesson that he has taught you?
Oof, I'm still learning it. My biggest
Mm-hmm.
challenge is with him is um boundaries and being the mom
Mm-hmm.
and being like firm and tough. Because also like the baby years are really easy because you just say yes to everything they want. Everything they want is actually a need.
Right. Good point.
And there gets to so you just say yes, like he wants to be fed. Yes, he wants
Mm-hmm.
to sleep. Yes. And then there's a point where all it's not just a saying yes to all his wants and that discrimination of like, do I say yes or no? And there's a part of me that just wants to say yes to everything that he wants,
Mm-hmm.
but that's clearly not helpful for him or for me.
Right.
But that's still maybe my biggest growth place as far as being a parent to him.
Mm.
Yeah. And I think we've had one Akashic Records reading said, "Oh, you've had many lives where you were equals, and in this life, like,
Mm.
you're the mom, and you have to remember that, and he has to remember that, like, okay, in this life, like, I am the one in charge, like, that's
Wow.
my dharma, and your dharma is to be the kid."
Mm.
So to
That's so beautiful.
yeah, to not treat him like my brother or friend, but like
Yeah.
child, and there's gonna be a lot of no's in there with all
Mm.
the yeses.
With all the S's, right? Just a
Lots of
few
yeses,
no's.
but there's gonna be some no's too.
I'm wondering, like, because I feel the same way with my mom. Like, I know her and I have had lifetimes together. And I think this might be the first lifetime where like she's been my mom and like I'm the daughter. So I definitely have felt those roles of like where I'm the mom or I'm having to like I'm like the sister or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious. I wonder if that's a common thing between I know like moms and their children have very special bonds, but I'm just kind of wondering too, and just through hearing other people's kind of stories like around their connection with their child, like I'm wondering, is that a common thing that like most moms have had lifetimes with the children that they're, you know, facilitating on this planet?
Probably. I mean, I feel like the people closest to us, like family, partners, close friends, we've probably been traveling with them in different forms for lifetimes.
Mm,
Like, and yeah, and then like, what's the role in this life? It's funny. Yeah, then we have to play these different roles and
yeah, it's so interesting. Life is interesting. Life is interesting. It really is. Earlier you were talking about the pillars that you kind of like come into around Maha Rose. And I'm wondering, do you feel like those are also pillars or values that you bring into your life as well? Or do you have like different values for, how you want to operate in the world, and then different values of how you want to show up through Maha Rose?
That's a great question. I mean, definitely in my life, yes, devotion to the goddess, number
Mm.
one. Um, Laughter and play, yeah, probably number two. And like, yeah, touch, physical touch,
Mm.
as far as like love languages in the world.
Yeah.
uh, Devotion, laughter, and touch, Reiki, massage. Yeah, probably same.
Yeah.
I mean, there's other ones as well, yeah, as far as values and you know, compassion and
Mm-hmm.
honesty, all those other
Yeah.
good things.
I love that. What is your when you're kind of like starting your day, how are you kind of like, I guess, getting into the zone, or I don't want to say getting into the zone, that feels so like 3D, but like how are you kind of like awakening to these pillars, so to speak, to kind of like really move through your day in alignment with them?
Yeah, well, my teacher, Amma, she's in Kerala in South India. And
Mm,
fortunately, since the pandemic, she started doing these live webcasts. So
okay.
evening in India, but for us here, I can watch it and there's a guided meditation, and then there's a satsang,
Mm,
and there's bhajans. So I've been doing that and it's amazing. It's like
mm.
everything. And I do a chanting of the 1,000 names of the Divine Mother
Wow.
while the bhajans are happening.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so beautiful. And this practice, this started when you started working with your guide. What's her name? Amma.
Yeah,
Amma, yeah.
the hugging saint. Well, this is what it is right now. And I'm in Brooklyn right now
Mhm.
without my child, so I have a
Okay.
more luxurious, extended sadhana in the mornings. My spiritual practice can
Mm,
be a little longer if I'm with my son. Um, Sometimes it's a little more chopped up.
yeah, yeah. Let's talk about that for a second, because I know, there are probably at least a few moms or parents listening to this podcast. Like, let's talk about flexibility within your day. Having children, not having your child with you, because I think a lot of times we're like, but this is my morning routine, and I have to get all these things inside my morning routine because then my day is gonna fall. Like we kind of like put this pressure on ourselves that like every day where we have to like hit the mark and hit the boxes and check everything off. What's been your relationship with that?
Yeah, I think, motherhood or parenthood is a lot of surrendering,
Mm,
a lot of flexibility, and accepting that what's coming up in the moment is what you're meant to be doing in that moment. And
mm,
yeah, a lot of surrender and being present to what is rather than what we want. And I'm a pretty fluid person, so I think I've done pretty well and like, okay, this is what we're
mhm,
doing now. And my ideal situation is when I wake up before him and I do get to do all my practices and then he wakes up, but
mhm.
doesn't sometimes that happens and sometimes it doesn't. And then sometimes I'll finish my practice after he's gone to school, and it's not at the same time every day. And I'm not a super structured person like that. So
Really? Even with
it's
all the Capricorn? What?
yeah. No,
I love that though. Yeah.
I don't have it.
I love that. I love that you've given yourself that permission too. I think it's going to be really expansive for other people as they just hear your story and how you're navigating through your world and through your reality. And I think that's something else that we can also remind ourselves to give ourselves permission. Like, I know I see such and such over there and their life looks like X, Y, Z, da, 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 da. But like, I'm also going to give myself permission to like move through my world and move through my reality with as
Yeah.
much grace and compassion and understanding as I can afford myself?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's just like about not arguing with reality, like accepting
Mm,
being in the moment. Yeah.
not arguing with reality.
We gotta write these down.
Wow. Wow.
Where's my pen? These are the next notes, the next little handwritten Instagram notes.
This is, yeah, no, that's good. I remember that. You got to stop
Don't argue
arguing
with
with
reality.
reality. What? What do you mean? What are you talking about, Lisa?
I mean, that's what we're doing all the time, right? I
Yeah.
don't like this. I don't like that. Don't like this. Don't like that. Don't like that either. And then we suffer.
Mm. Creating a world of suffering
Yeah.
and wondering why we're miserable.
Why am I so unhappy?
Why
Because,
am I so unhappy?
yeah.
Mm.
And that comes back to the other one I'm writing down too. When do we fight for something and when do
Yeah.
we accept? This is like the AA and Al-Anon prayer, right? Or
Yes.
serenity prayer. Like, God, give me
Yeah, I don't know a word for word, but it's like grant me the serenity to accept to change the things I can and accept the things that I cannot. Something like that.
and the wisdom to know the difference.
Yeah. And the wisdom to know the difference.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow. I just feel like a doorway just opened up, like something just unlocked. It's like, welcome to what you could have been living in this whole entire time. No, right? But it
We
finds us
weren't
when it
ready.
finds
We
us,
weren't
right?
ready.
Right. We weren't ready. Mm.
Yeah.
That's like
And
the lesson.
the right wisdom comes at the right time or when
Right.
we're ready. Or
Mhm.
maybe we've heard it before, but yeah, we weren't ready to
We
like
weren't ready to
vibe it.
receive it, right? And I was having a conversation with a friend of mine of just like, kind of going back to that hustle culture. Sometimes it's like, for some of us, that kind of takes you from one stepping stone to the next, right? But I think to be operating in that in perpetuity, like it's not sustainable. Even if we feel like, but this is my natural flow, whatever. It's like, but is it though? Or is that your trauma that you've just been so succumbed to that you don't know that there's another option, there's another reality, right?
Right.
And a lot of times, like when we're just in these states of depletion and so exhausted, like you can't receive a simple piece of wisdom, like you just said, and really integrate it
Yeah.
or even just like sit with it,
Yeah.
because the next thing like your attention is so bouncing all over the place. Like you go right over your head
Yeah.
and on to the next task. Like
Yeah.
is, and I think we're just, and I'm curious how you feel about this too, as a business owner and in the modern day society that we're in now of like finding that balance of like, okay, I know I need to show up, but I
Yeah.
also need to like step away.
Yeah. 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 It's a good question. And that, yeah, the ability to slow down and relax and step back and get off the like hamster wheel.
Yeah.
Um, I do feel like a lot of our problems, I do feel like to go, 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 go can be, I think the problem is that we're feeling like, I think you can go really hard, but
Hmm.
then what we do is we're filling like all the in-between spaces with consuming like social media.
Hmm.
Like I'm doing this task, and then instead of like just taking a breath and a moment, I'm like checking Instagram, and then I'm going to the next task. So like I think there used to be just like little pauses. Even if you were like going and doing a lot, there would be pauses in between.
Hmm.
Maybe to stop and eat your food
Right.
and not be like watching something or reading something
Yeah.
while eating. Like I think the amount of clutter that we put in, like I actually think that's what's like tipping us over the edge, honestly.
Yeah. When you said that, you said clutter, I was like, it's energetic clutter. That was the word. Yeah, like a lot of energetic clutter.
Yeah, like taking in, 50 people's ideas, energies in a day at least,
Hmm.
even if it's like 10 here, 20 there. That's a lot of incoming information that, yeah, it's just like a lot of, yeah, clutter.
Yeah. Mm.
I'm guilty of it also.
I mean, it's like I am too. Definitely. I definitely am too. But I think the more that we can like bring awareness around it and also give ourselves permission
Yeah.
to, because and I have to find my balance with this, but like I am I'm on social media and then I'm like off social media for like 4 days, you know, and I am trying to figure out my balance with that as well. But I think if we can just give ourselves more permission to be like, okay, you know what, like maybe I check social media one time today or twice today and not, like you said, not allow it to be like my default. Like, okay, like I'm going to go for a walk now. Let me like go scroll on social media while I'm walking. I
Yeah.
think we can just really give ourselves more permission to just like truly going back to present, like being present
Yeah.
in whatever it is that we're really doing. So if it's work, like being fully present in our work, if it's, having a conversation with someone, being fully present in that conversation,
Yeah. And when I'm gonna go into Instagram, being fully present for
being
that
fully
too.
present
Like
for
not just
sure.
doing mindlessly and filling the spaces in between
Yeah.
the other activities.
100%. I'm also curious, like, what does your end of the day process kind of look like? Again.
Last night we had this laughter lab class, so oh my gosh, we laughed so hard. It was so good.
Mm,
And then I was really tired. I try to read a little bit of a spiritual book before bed. And that's like I don't meditate at the end of the night, but
okay.
yeah, a little bit of yeah, instead of like I don't know, intentional spiritual book.
Hmm.
Yeah, before bed.
I love that. And what are you currently reading now?
I'm reading um I'll show you. It's like
Yeah.
funny, it's a magazine. It's a magazine. It's an Alma magazine.
Oh,
This is Alma.
wow.
Have you seen her? Met her?
No.
There's an Alma Center in Santa Fe. There's like a little
No.
ashram. Yeah.
Are you
Maybe
serious?
I'm serious. It's actually maybe the second one in the United States. It's been there since probably the 80s or
What?
90s. Go check it out.
She's like a big deal.
She's huge. She's hugged 35 million people.
What?
This is from 2013. But
Wow.
it's like it's satsangs. It's, some of her teachings and some devotees who write about their experiences with her.
Mm. That is so beautiful. No, I will most certainly go and check that out.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Mm. What do you feel like has been the biggest lesson that she's taught you?
Oof. I mean, I really, oof. What is she's teaching me everything. I guess just that God exists and that the more that we um, allow ourselves to be an instrument of the divine,
Mm,
like
mm,
the happier we'll be. And yeah, just like surrendering to God.
yes. Yeah. That surrender piece is huge. Surrender and acceptance.
Yeah.
I feel like that's one of the biggest themes of this conversation, which is
Yeah.
beautiful. I mean, it's probably something that we definitely don't give ourselves enough of.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
definitely something we don't give ourselves enough of.
Yeah.
Um, oh wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So I'd love to chat about like I know you have the new clown offerings. And well, I don't know. It sounds like last night was the first time you've offered that. Is that going to be like a series?
This is Laughter Lab, and I'm teaching it again on Sunday.
Okay.
Then I'll be in Mexico for about a month for some retreats, and then I'll be back here and we'll have it more regularly on the schedule.
Mm,
And then there's also the Way of the Clown classes with my teacher, Carol, but I don't have the dates offhand, but it's coming up soon. So
okay.
check the schedule, maharose.com.
Yes, absolutely. I'll be sure to link that in the show notes too.
Okay.
And I was gonna say for your retreats, that's through Maha Rose as well.
Yeah, yeah. I have a Reiki Masters coming up March 5th to the 12th. There's an Akashic Records retreat coming up.
Ooh,
Um, oh my gosh, I should know all these dates. That's like in 2 weeks maybe. And then there's a
okay.
your healing retreat at the end of the month. In
What?
Yes, that was just added. They're all on the website because
Okay.
I should have written down all the dates.
No, you're totally fine.
Maharose.com. And if you go, there's a Mexico tab with the retreats. And there's a
Okay.
Cloud retreat also in April.
I love that. I
Yes,
love that.
going all the way.
Oh my gosh. Wait, there was what, oh, a question just came to my mind. What was it? What was it? Help me, spirit. Oh, Mexico. I wanted to ask you, what developed your connection to Mexico? Because I remember when I first found out, so I never told you how I first found out about Maha Rose, but I believe I was listening to a podcast. I feel like it was the Almost 30 podcast. And I was just in the beginning of my spiritual awakening. And I think the person that they were interviewing was someone who's like a regular who hosted workshops at Maha Rose. I wish I could remember what the healer's name was. I feel like something Cadlick, maybe.
Sadie? Sadie?
Yes, that sounds like that might be it.
Crystal
Sadie
Healer?
Cadlick. That sounds very familiar. Yeah. Yeah, I think it was her. Um, and so I remember even back then you were doing retreats in Mexico and stuff. And I think that was the first time I had even heard about Tulum and stuff. So fast forward to last year, I actually went to Tulum for the first time for my birthday and I loved it. But all that to say, I just have been along the journey since I've been connected with Maha Rose and then, connecting with you personally. Mexico's always been a thing. And I'm just curious, like, what's your connection to Mexico?
Yeah. Well, I first lived there when in like the late 90s for a year
Okay.
in San Miguel. A good friend from college had been going to this town for many years with her family, and I went with her and fell in love with it and
Mm.
was studying silversmithing. And yeah, I was really young and really free and really wild. And I think it like just it gave me a lot of yeah, freedom, and also just the culture is very warm and people
Mm.
take care of each other in this really beautiful way. Like I was hitchhiking around Mexico. I was yeah, probably 19. My sister was
Wow.
like on the backs of pickup trucks and in 18 wheelers and just like I don't know, just like trusting humanity and like not
Mm.
like here I don't know if I would do that. There, I pick up hitchhikers all the time, like, it's the world I want to live in, like,
Mm.
where we take care of each other more, um, and then later I met my husband, and he also had a deep love for Mexico, and he had had this vision and dream of opening up a recording studio and a music school for kids, and that's been
Wow.
slowly being built and just opened last year, so
Wow.
yeah, so that's in Masunte on the coast. And yeah,
Mm.
Masunte is it's a wild, fiery vortex of a place. I've had lots of healing and transformation there. Yeah, some
Mm.
of it kicking and screaming, some of it surrendering gracefully.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's a strong place for healing, definitely, and for transformation.
I love that. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. That was beautiful.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Any final thoughts, words of wisdom, encouragement, anything you want to share with the people, leave with the people?
Oh my gosh. I feel like we've touched on so many
We
things. But
did.
I guess maybe just like giving people a little permission to be happy and to play and to laugh even in these troubled times
Hmm.
that my teacher we'll come back to Alma's words of wisdom. She says, children, whether you laugh or cry, the days will go by. So better
Mm.
to laugh because laughter is the language of the soul or of the heart of the soul. Soul and heart.
Yes, both of them. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, because it's such a just yeah, like a strong and, intense time in the world, I think sometimes we don't give ourselves permission to be happy because
Mm.
either we're going through our own personal suffering or we're aware of other people's suffering. And so we're like, I shouldn't be happy because there's all this suffering happening in the world. But really that doesn't help anybody. That's not taking away anybody else's suffering. It's just creating
Mm.
suffering.
Wow. Yes. Yes to all of that. It's not taking away anyone's suffering by us being in our own suffering or in suffering because of XYZ. Yeah.
And feel it, you know, like, I definitely, like, when we feel the pain and the empathy, like, feel it, yes, but don't camp out there and stay.
Mhm.
Don't
Yeah.
camp misery.
Thank
Again,
you
like,
so
the
much.
suffering yeah, like, the suffering that we have control over and the suffering that we don't have control over. So are we creating more suffering? Or, you know, there's a suffering we have to go through, but don't
Mhm.
create more suffering than is necessary.
Listen, don't create more. Don't create
There's
more.
enough
Yeah.
already. Yeah,
Listen, okay? There's
don't create
plenty. We don't need to be adding to the pot.
yeah,
I know that's something I've been reminding myself of, just like as far as it's the suffering piece, but also too like the making things harder than what they need to be, also too, which can create a lot of suffering. And that's where I have to, spirit has to kind of like pull on my coattail a little bit to be like, you don't make it hard. You know, like I'll add the intricacies, I'll add the embellishments. You just keep it simple. We just need you to do step one and step two. That's it.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, because I want to control that control and I want to make it look like this and it needs to feel like that. It needs to have that, you know, instead of really trusting and surrendering that like the universe has got you and it's going to be beautiful and pleasurable. And, you know, even if there's some challenges in the mix, like on the other side, there's still going to be some beauty. So thank you for sharing that.
yeah, yeah, and
Mhm.
what am I meant to do in this moment? What do I do?
Yeah.
What's the task right now?
That presence piece, it really is. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna really carry that with me today because that was something even this morning when I woke up, I was just kind of feeling like a little lost. Mostly because like I just kind of, I guess I think it was the way I fell asleep, and I was just kind of like, what is today? Like, what am I supposed to be like? I was just kind of like a little disoriented, and I wanted to really be. I want to become better at being in practice. Like, okay, like, but what is being asked of me? Like you said, today.
yeah,
Like, what can we do today?
yeah,
So I love that. Thank you.
yeah, me too.
Oh, this has been such a beautiful conversation. I'm
So
so
good we
happy.
finally did
I was
it.
gonna say I'm so happy it finally unfolded. I was like, you know, I'm just gonna trust the universe. Like things are moving and flowing. It's fine. It's gonna happen when it's meant to happen. I'm not stressed. I'm not pressed. Like, and I'm super grateful.
Today was our day.
Yeah, it was our day. Well, thank you so much, Lisa. It was such a pleasure and honor to be able to just speak with you like this. And I'm just so grateful for our connection. And I can't wait to come back to New York and visit the space. I am planning to, I don't know, I was saying October, but I was like, I don't know, I need a good Brooklyn summer night. So I may have to come over during the summer.
Do it. Come.
Yeah, yeah. And so yeah, it's always an honor and a pleasure to connect with you.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you
Mhm.
for sharing this time and space with me. Thank you.
Thank you. And you are welcome back anytime, anytime.